All right, then I'd like to call to order this conditional use hearing for Blue Herring. Is that
Station pass.
Station Pass? At this point, I'd like to turn the meeting over to Russell Farbiar as the solicitor.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a public hearing of the Board of Supervisors of the Township of Windsor pursuant to the Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code and the Windsor Township Zoning Ordinance 80-2009. We're here tonight because Station Pass LLC has filed an application to grant their request for conditional use pursuant to sections 403.4 and 403.4F of the Township Zoning Ordinance to permit a multifamily residential conversion at the property at 183 Chrisman Road, Lenhartsville, Windsor Township, Berks County, Pennsylvania. Said property is located in the agriculture zone as set forth in the zoning ordinance as amended. The property was previously granted conditional use approval as a recreational resort community. The public hearing which is being held this evening is required under the provisions of the Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code and Zoning Ordinance of Windsor Township as amended, which was adopted January 28th of 2009. The purpose of the public hearing is twofold. First, it allows the applicants to present their application to the Board of Supervisors. Second, it allows the residents and taxpayers of Windsor Township who have legal standing in this matter to introduce evidence and cross-examine any witnesses presented on behalf of the applicants regarding the proposed application. At the conclusion of the hearing, the supervisors will have to decide whether or not the applicants have met their burden of proof in complying with the standards and criteria necessary to obtain the requested conditional use. I will give a brief explanation of the procedure that we will be using. First, the applicants will make their presentation to the Board of Supervisors. As part of their presentation, the board and any persons in attendance who enter an appearance on the record will have an opportunity to question or cross-examine the applicants and any of their witnesses regarding their testimony. For all persons in attendance who make themselves a party to the hearing, this is not the time to give a speech or present testimony. The opportunity to do this will come at a later time in the hearing. Rather, this is an opportunity to only ask questions of the applicants and their witnesses. Following the conclusion of the applicant's presentation, the persons in attendance who have entered an appearance on the record will have an opportunity to present testimony and other evidence on their own behalf regarding the applicant's requested relief. If any person chooses to present such testimony, he or she will be subject to cross-examination from the applicants. With this in mind, is there any member of the public that would like to become a party to the hearing in order to question the applicants and their witnesses? If so, please raise your hand now and your appearance will be entered on the record. Let the record reflect that there is no response. Proceeding is being recorded by a stenographer. Accordingly, the applicant's witnesses and any persons who have entered their appearance will have to be placed under oath prior to presenting any evidence, and we ask that you speak loudly and clearly. When all testimony, evidence, and closing statements have been presented to the board will recess the public hearing to deliberate in executive session. Following the executive session, the board may ask additional questions of the applicants and or the parties of record, and thereafter the board will close the evidentiary record and conclude the public hearing. At that point, the board may announce its decision, or if the board is unable to reach a decision, will announce the time and place when the decision will be publicly rendered, which must occur within 45 days of the conclusion of the hearing in accordance with the Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code. At this point, I'm going to introduce certain documents into the record for tonight's hearing. Exhibit 1 is the application submitted by Station Pass LLC on or about September 16th of 2024. Exhibit 2 is the proof of publication from 21st Century Media, which is a newspaper of general circulation, Windsor Township, evidencing that public notice of this hearing was advertised in the Reading Eagle on October 30th and November 6, 2024. Exhibit 3 is a notice to residents signed by myself as Township Solicitor, evidencing that I caused notice of the public hearings to be mailed to the applicants and adjoining landowners on or about October 30th, 2024. Exhibit 4 is a letter to the board from myself as solicitor reporting on the outcome of the Planning Commission's consideration of the current application. Exhibit number 5 is a transcript from the hearing on April 14, 2021 before the board. I was was the prior conditional use hearing application. Board Exhibit number 6 is the decision of the board concerning the conditional use hearing held pursuant to the applicant's application dated December 16, 2020. And Exhibit 7 is a certification by the Township zoning officer indicating that the property was posted on October 29, 2024. Would the applicant like to examine these exhibits? Do you want to look at that?
Yeah. I'm sorry, what?
I was asking if you wanted to look at the exhibits that you said.
No, that's all right.
All right. And I would ask that these exhibits be made a part of the record. And at this point, I would turn it over to the applicant and his counsel.
My name is Richard Jacobs. I'm representing Mr. Ivan Zimmerman here. We initially got here because we were led to believe that the conditional use was the appropriate method to get his request approved. Since then, it seems like the variance requirement is more appropriate, and that was confirmed by your attorney and the engineer. We got a letter from the engineer indicating the same thing. So my request tonight is that we continue. We're asking for a continuance so we get in front of the zoning commission before we get. If we get approval there, then we'll be back for approval.
Just from a procedural perspective, gentlemen, there was a variance application that was filed. I believe that there was initial hearing, I think it was in May of this year. And that was continued generally so that the applicant could then file this application and come before you. So I think procedurally, they already have an application pending. If you would grant the continuance, it would essentially be generally and the only stipulation I would suggest is that we will have to re-advertise and that the applicant will be responsible for the cost of re-advertising.
If it's required, it would.
Okay. So then I think that if you want to entertain the motion, the motion that's been presented by the applicant to continue this proceeding indefinitely, and that if there is any re-advertising necessary, the applicant will be responsible for those costs.
Any comment?
I have a comment. I'm confused. You were seeking a variance, but there's been no action on that variance?
The zoning board met,
Okay.
and then essentially they got the same request that's being made here tonight because the applicant believed that they needed to come here first. They now believe they need to go to the zoning board.
If I recall the sequence of events, his previous attorney withdrew the request at that time. Am I right or wrong about that?
He didn't withdraw the request. It was just continued generally.
He continued it.
So what you would need to do is you need to contact Christopher Mubdi, who's the zoning hearing board solicitor, to ask that be relisted for a variance hearing.
Do you have any comment, Ryan?
No. I mean, other than, I think you really need to get your stuff together here and decide what you're doing, because we keep going back and forth. You go from attorney to attorney to attorney, and here we are with 4 different things dragging the township along with an apartment. So I honestly think, come before this board with everything prepared that you're supposed to be prepared for, because I think this is being dragged out long enough with what you're trying to do with that. And that's all I want to tell the board from a zoning perspective. All right?
Are you saying bypass the zoning?
No,
Okay.
I'm saying do the zoning like you're supposed to, then come
Right.
back before this board, but let's
Right.
do those steps correctly. And let's stay on the same path on what we're trying to do and not change our mind.
All right, thank you. Any comments about it?
No. This is from Steve. And if he has a variance will be required for the permit for proposed use. That's just what I just said. That's just what's too
Okay, I can see that.
well. This came to the township.
All right. Well, if that's the case, if there's any other comment,
Oh,
then I'll make the motion as stated by our attorney. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
before I say, respond to that, I would like to take the opportunity to have you understand, a lot of people, arrange their schedule tonight to do this, so we don't want to just keep going nowhere here, wasting people's time.
Going around in circles, yeah.
Right?
Agreed.
Am I missing something?
And my apologies, I was advised a couple different directions. I think we finally, we're gonna finish this with this path forward. Yeah.
Okay. I'll- Do we look for a
All in favor,
second?
say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With that being said, I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn this conditional use hearing. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.